Alright, we are back. Had to take a moment to restart the computer here and get it working better, so we had a program would be cooperating better. Alright, we got our timer back up. We got less than 90 minutes before FLCL Progressive is on the air. So glad you guys are here. Going to lower the quality of our stream a little bit so we can get more people viewing on Periscope. Periscope likes its bit rates nice and low. So we're still in the plotting process here. We got left is this water tower, this elevator shaft, and these two little like energy drink cans, and that little sheet of paper. So let's get to it. Question is the cans to these energy drinks, are they sour or are they sweet? Or are they the pulpy kind? Is that going to be too different? Kind of draws you to it if it's too much. So for more of a muddy green here. Yeah, we're removing that song from our list because it's a little too abrasive. It looks like Stream Me is still down. I wonder what's going on. Huh. Hello, welcome. Looks like you now just came up online, which is good. So I think we're just about done flatting Haruko here. One thing you may notice is we got the counter going on for when FLCL Season 2 starts tonight. So I'm super excited about that. Program I'm using to flat tonight is called Inkscape. I think we're going to be switching over to Photoshop in a moment. Photoshop was acting up, so I went ahead and switched to this one because this program's a little bit lighter on the CPU. So you can stream at the same time. So the only thing we got left to do is Haruko's goggles here, it looks like, for flatting, and then we can go to rendering. If you guys like FLCL, feel free to talk about it in the chat. We are on Twitch, we're on StreamMe, we're on YouNow, we're on Mixer, we're everywhere now. We're on YouTube. Gonna go ahead and look over at a reference here. And from the look of Haruko's straps, she has black straps on her goggles, and then her goggles will look like a warm gray, so we'll do the same thing. Well, the only issue I see with doing a warm gray is it might be too close of a value to here, so we might actually try something else. And her strap is a warm black. Maybe like something like that. Something like that. So one thing you may notice I've done here is I've made her goggles here warm gray, and this building back here is the cool gray, which means it gets the cooler color temperature is going to make it recede behind, so they don't look like they're at the same level. So when we zoom out, we see she pops forward because of that warm gray right there. So thank you, those of you who are joining us on StreamMe and on Twitter, or on Periscope, depending. I hope you guys are having a great night tonight. We are an hour and 8 minutes away from Fully Cooley Season 2. So that means in about an hour this stream is going to be over, because I'm going to be watching the show. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm going to be watching Fully Cooley Season 2. Alright. Guess all that's left is to flat out my monogram here. God, my handwriting was horrible that day. Right, let's live with it. It's not the drawing, it's just my name. JC. There we go. Alright. Last thing we gotta fly is this little piece of paper here. So as things get smaller and farther away, harder to make out the details, you may want to open up your line work so like the reader makes up the shape in their head, but like the lines don't actually touch. You don't want to do that on your focal points in your drawing, but you can do it on little details like this piece of paper, which I'm going to make more of a... Does this work? We'll go ahead and flat these labels too. I don't know whether these are energy drinks or pipe bombs or what. We'll give them a light yellow. Alright, so we got Haruko flatted, we got the ground, the wood planks in the foreground flatted, we got mechanical plant flatted, we got the background buildings, the guitar up. Looks like we gotta get the guitar neck forward, so there we go. And we still have to finish the guitar neck. And the keys. And the tuning posts. So on a rosewood base, this would all be the same color here. So we'll do that if it's got a rosewood neck. Except we know that because she's playing a Gibson EB1 that these are actually painted the same color as the guitar body unless it's a aftermarket neck. So let's match that up. She doesn't really, I don't know if she actually plays the bass or if she, I mean, she pretty much just hits people with it and plays like one note, so I don't know actually if she can actually play the darn thing. It'd be kind of cool if we find out in tonight's episode. Right, we are almost done flatting. Let's do a quick stupidity check. So one thing I do is I zoom in. You just take a look across and see if anything's sticking out from the lines. Notice here. Okay, that's alright. That's a pretty rough looking spot right there, but that problem's in the inks. That's not the colors, but we'll fix the inks anyway. So I'm correcting this one problem with the inks here real quick. And we got some little bits of yellow from the color strip fixed. So we got our timer, the FLCL timer running at the top here to keep us reminded when the show starts. So in about 10 minutes till, we're gonna cut the stream so I can get my TV ready and sit down and watch some Fooly Cooly Season 2. That's why we're drawing Haruko here. Got my color reference here on the side, right here. So Looks like we got her flatted out, so now all we have to do is we're going to spend probably about the next 40 minutes or so rendering. So some mistakes I made in the inks here is I actually put these shadows going here. So I may have to correct that later, but we'll worry about that later. We're going to go ahead and get to coloring. So get my ink layer locked down again. Most of our music tonight is coming from Drake Stafford and Sephiros, because their music is free and under the Creative Commons license. I was using Chill Step Internet Radio previously, but both of us got a copyright hit because they inadvertently ended up playing a Radiohead song, so I couldn't cancel my stream fast enough, and I got a copyright hit. So tonight everything is open source. We're not dependent on radio stations to do it. So our variety might get a little lacking, but yeah, it's a small price to pay. Alright, so I'm going to lock my flats layer now that the flat's done. And we're going to create a new layer on top of it. And we're going to name this layer our renders layer. Now we got to think about the light source on this. So we know that from the shadows on this building and the shadows on this side of these wood planks that our light is basically coming from behind Haruko at an angle maybe, or coming directly from the side. So we're going to treat it more directly from the side because we don't have any shadows on her back. And the reason we don't is because we're keeping her fairly open because she's the point of focus. So I'm going to go ahead and keep rocking this until the timer runs out, and then I am off to watch the show. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tint our lights, tint these flats to our light source. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing a shape of where the light is contacting Haruko's. This is where the tops of her scapula are. This is where her deltoid is. So the scapula is coming from here to here. So we're gonna mimic to go around the shape of the deltoid. We're gonna do a little light here. See, this has a very stark white color, but what we can do is we can lower its opacity a little bit on the graph over here, and then under the fill mode can raise its blur, so we have this cool little color like that. See how that has some depth to it now? So we're going to do that all around the shapes of her. So let's do it. If any of you guys are really excited about the show coming out, feel free to talk about it in the chat. I will be here all night. Well, I'm going to be here until that timer runs out, and then I'm going to go watch it. Yeah. It's really subtle, but that really adds some depth to her too, because that's the local color of her shirt. That was interesting. Our music stopped there for a moment. They were messing with my groove. And I see that I have an issue with my flat here, so I'm going to go back to my flats layer and adjust that real quick. I hope you guys are having a great night tonight. If you're not, you can feel free to tell me about it in the chat. And I will laugh at you for having a terrible night. If you enjoy what you're watching here tonight, feel free to tell your friends. We got 53 minutes till Fully Cooley Season 2 starts. Of course, this is drawing in Chillstep. And I am JC. That's kind of cool and stark, but that's not what we're looking for, so we're going to raise the blur on it. Oh, looks like we got one viewer in Twitch. We got 2 on Twitter. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to lower the opacity on it. This blur effect here, and get some of that color to come back through. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I think this is going to have a sharper shadow or a harsher highlight, so going to yeah, less than an hour until the show starts. I'm excited. For some reason, I think this program might have just froze up. There we go. some reason this, oh, that's why. To have our layers selected before we, there we go. You guys are excited about FLCL? Feel free to drop a line about it in the chat. One of the great things about Haruko here is she's kind of a force of nature. She's raw in motion, you know? She gets ticked off, she just has to beat stuff with her bat and her bass guitar. She's like the id incarnate. So tonight's the first night we're actually streaming on YouNow, and I don't know if I like it that much, because like I was looking at YouNow, and like it seems like it's like pretty people only over there. Like everyone's like, it looks like everyone on YouNow is trying to just become a star or something, you know? So I don't know if I'm going to stick with that one. But if my metrics over here say anything like Stream Me and Mixer and Twitch and Periscope are all doing fine, but Picardo and YouNow, nah, they're just all trying to be stars over there. I'm just trying to draw. And share some great chill stuff. So we just added our highlight. One of the cool things about using Inkscape is we can pull on those highlights and adjust it. So I can think about the shape of the form of this bat and how it might be a smooth cylinder here and how it tapers here and how the light will, you know, go around. So now that looks nice and round there, like a bat. So we got, looks like we got her shoulder shelf here from the scapulas to the ball of the humerus highlighted. Looks like from this angle the scarf is probably casting a shadow on her breasts here, so I gotta work out how that's gonna happen. Probably gonna put a highlight on the scarf because the light is pretty much coming straight sideways, so all shadows are going to be pretty much on this side of her, like already indicated here. So, like if I was going to do a shadow plane on this glove, probably going to look something like this. We're going to go with more of a cel-shaded look on our shadows, I think. And we'll do a smoother, more rendered look on our highlights. Part of the reason I'm doing these shadows a little bit lighter than I would normally is because I know when this thing prints, the amount of ink on here is actually going to make this darker when it prints. So I'm actually making this shadow a little bit lighter on the display here because you have to remember that there's light coming from the display and that's affecting how you're seeing it. When this print prints out, that shadow is actually going to be a lot darker than it appears here. So I'm compensating for that based on past experiences. So I got the shape from the deltoid happening here, so I'm going to go ahead and put a shadow here. For now we're going to do harsh shadows, and then we may smooth them out a little later on. And then we got her. Got to remember that her scapula is poking through that fabric a little bit, and this is leather, so it's only affecting the form a little bit. Or if it's not leather, it's a type of vinyl. And then, so we're going to do something like this. And I'm thinking about her sacrum here and how her booty's going to affect the shape of the light here. That actually looks kind of neat and dramatic there, but we're coloring it, we're not inking it, so gonna match the base color and then we're gonna darken it. Something like that. So it's starting to get some depth to it. Depending on the style, you may or may not want depth, but if you can, the more information you can usually give the viewer about the form, it's going to be more helpful that they can see what's going on. So I still am thinking about the scapula here and how I'm going to address it. Like, is there going to be a shadow over the entire scapula, or is the ridge of it going to have a highlight? Something like that. I almost think that this is actually going to come and be one shape, so we're going to try that. That looks pretty good.
The story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed.
Then we got to fix the shapes poking out from the line art. That's looking pretty good. You guys excited about any of the new FLCL characters, or just excited to see the old ones? I'm actually not too crazy about Haruko's new character design. She looks like she's a hunter or something in that hunter's vest. She looks like a rockabilly chick trying to get a fight. We'll see. So I'm thinking about where the shadows are going to be on this form. Thinking about the planes of the foot. And how the light is going to... how the shadow is going to be on a certain side of these planes of the foot. And we're going to match the color again. Boot. And go to our value slider and drag it down. Looks kind of cool. Have to think about the muscles of the leg. We got the gastrocnemius and the soleus here, and we got the bone, the shin bone, poking out from the soleus. So I got to think about how that's manipulating the light here in this boot. That gibberish is a bunch of Latin to describe the muscles, by the way. There we go. It's a little too much there. Bring that forward. That boot is starting to have some depth, but I can also think about this fabric fold right here and the leather of the boot. Or the leather fold. There we go. I think that's convincing enough. And we need to go ahead and add a highlight from where the light's coming from. There's there's a few ways to think about the highlights, right? You can either think of the highlights as where the light is falling on, but also you can think about it as where the light is reflecting off of the object and into our eye as a viewer. So I could either place the highlight right here, so if I place it here, this is where the highlight is reflecting back into our eyes. Turn down this music a little bit. Alright. And I can either blur it here. And that's kind of alright, but I think for this one I'm actually not going to worry about the what we call the reflected highlight. We're going to worry more about the core highlight, which is actually the highlight caused by where the light is coming from. So is that reflected highlight is what's going directly into the camera's eye, and sometimes we don't want it that pronounced because it can obscure the form. See, that one looks better. And actually, I think because of the nature of this material, I'm actually going to leave this highlight pretty harsh. Like this glove, I'm going to diffuse the highlight because it's made out of the suede leather, so I'm going to make it... going to go ahead and raise its opacity a little bit. It'll let me. And then I'm going to go ahead and blur it a little bit. Soften that up to indicate the kind of material it is. And actually I'm going to go ahead and soften this shadow too, because now I'm thinking about it, these gloves are made of suede leather, so they're going to have a softer shadow to them than if they were made of vinyl or even like just a straight up like cotton. If they were made of cotton, they'd have a sharper highlight, but they're made of suede, so... I'm getting pretty good here. Oh no, we have a half hour until Fully Cooley Season 2 starts. So I better hurry here. This is almost correct here, but it's more like that for the form. It's almost flattening this, so we have to be careful. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually turn this into a gradient. And we'll move the gradient here. Do something more like that. And we're going to go ahead and darken. There we go. The reason I turned this into a gradient unlike the other side is because we need to show the roundness of this part of the leg, because we got this muscle here called the gastrocnemius that goes around like this, so I want to kind of indicate that. Because Haruko is the point of focus in this drawing, so we want to make sure she's the most eye-catching, so we want her form to be really described. So now we're going to add highlights on her leather pants here. The reason I chose purple here for the highlight of the the core highlight of the leather is because in the watercolor paintings of our character design, they use purple to describe that. So we're going to do that also. And then we're just going to create this little bendy shape here for the... I'm going to add some nodes to it. And we'll make them bend. And then we're going to blur it a little bit. I don't like the blurriness from afar, so we're going to turn it down a bit. I don't really like that shape either, so we're going to... It's distracting from the form, so we're going to do something that goes more around it. Like that. Okay, that's good. That describes form. Now we'll blur it a little bit. Now we're going to duplicate that blur, and then we'll turn it down. And that's good. And we'll do the same thing here. Except I don't think we're going to have much of a highlight here because this is on the back side of her. This muscle here, we got the biceps femoris, and we got the biceps femoris, we got the gracilis, we got, you know, she's a skinny person, so we pretty much will only see her biceps femoris, but so the way the shape of that muscle works, it's not going to create that much of a highlight here. So we're going to kind of fake it by creating a highlight, but then we're going to blur it a lot. Something like that. In fact, I like that highlight a lot better. I'm actually going to do it to this one too. Because she's not very much, I mean, she's strong, but it's more of a magical strength, so it's not going to be really shown in the definition of her legs. So all right. It's looking pretty good from here. We need to work on her head. And we got 25 minutes. So this live stream has about 15 minutes left. So let's see what we can do. For those of you watching, I'm glad you're here. Find my mouse. Alright, looks like we got one of you watching on Twitter and 2 watching on StreamMe, 1 watching on Twitch. Thanks for lurking. Alright. So now I'm thinking about the planes of shape on this goggles here, so I'm going to complete that shape, and we're going to Something like that. It's pretty good. With more mechanical objects, you can pretty much get away with just defining the planes of the shape to do your shadows, and it'll look very technical. So. So when I'm adding shadows to the head, I think about the places where light, casts on the skull. And so we gotta make sure we put our gradients in the right direction and stuff like that. Give me a sec here. See, like I have to flip this gradient around. So one problem is I started to render this nose on my flats layer, so I gotta move it real quick. We got 19 minutes till FLCL Season 2 starts. So I'm going to be cutting out in about 8 minutes and 55 seconds. Now the reason I'm doing my gradients this way is we're creating something called a Terminator shadow, where we have the harshness of the shadow of the plane change, and then we're doing a gradient towards the smooth side here. So and I'm thinking about the planes of her face while I'm coloring this to make sure I give her some form. Anime is one of those kind of weird styles where you don't have a lot of form indicated by the line art. It has to be done in other ways, like through the coloring. Now make sure her face is as attractive as it is in the show, so to speak. I'm not going to add a lot of nodes here. And we're actually going to go ahead and blur this particular shape. And when we look at it from far away, got our whole picture here. Seems to be alright. Thinking about the shape of her cheekbone. That's a little better. Now I'm going to have her lip cast a shadow that matches up with the shape of going, the shadow shape of going around her jawbone. Or the mandible, as it's called in technical fancy speak. Hopefully that doesn't make her look too masculine. Excuse me, folks. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I hope you did not have to rip your headphones off. I should have a compressor going. But, alright. Figures, a breeze came through the window and a bunch of pollen came in with it. Alright, we got 4 minutes until this stream is over. We got 14 minutes until FLCL Season 2 starts, so I'm really excited. I may be tired, but I'm going to stay up and watch the hell out of that show. So now we're gonna see, we got our face. Let's get this other glove. We'll get this other glove, and then we'll see. I think we'll be done with our stream at that point. So in coloring the thumb, I'm thinking about the planes on the thumb and how shadow falls on the sides of it. something like this. And think about the planes of the finger and where the knuckle is. And also, again, this is the material of this glove is suede leather, so we're actually going to blur these renders on the glove a little bit to indicate kind of a suede-y texture. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to try and finish this glove, and then we'll get a final look at Haruko, where we currently have her at. And I'll finish her up tomorrow. But I'm not going to do that live, I'll just finish her up. Got a minute and 52 seconds here. Alright, for our last 30 seconds here, we're going to go ahead and pull back. I'm going to finish this shadow real quick. We got some time. And then we will look at the whole drawing. Alright, so we got our drawing here. We got Haruko from FLCL2. So today we flatted her. We went ahead and rendered her costume, her face. Haven't gotten to her hair yet, but we got about 47 seconds of this live stream left. Then we got 10 minutes until FLCL2 Season 2 starts. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. You can check out, give me a second here. So we got Haruko here from FLCL2, and go ahead and zoom in on a little bit more. So this is going to be 11 by 17 print when it's finished, but you guys can always check that out at shop.jcbeal.com. I will have this print up probably by tomorrow. It'll be completely finished. I will have the wood planks done and everything. Also, I have a commissions link on at the store at shop.jcbeal.com, where you can order a headshot for $5 of any character you want. You can also get a bust for $10, and you could get a full figure commission for $20. And those are black and white pen and ink drawings. So if you want them in color, you could always send an email to drawingandchillstep@gmail.com, and we'll discuss that further. Anyway, we'll do one more look at the drawing here. And we got 8 minutes and 57 seconds till FLCL2 Season 2 starts. So I'm getting out of here. Have a great night, folks. You've been wonderful.